Okay, hold on, let me restart. Here we go. Sorry, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention please. About to start the show, better take your seats. It's time to let the curtain rise. We're gonna shake the room, we're gonna all night. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Hi, all. Hello again.
We've had late nights and we've had early mornings.
The third week of July it's gonna be a blur. I knew. And I'd already talked to Will and I'd already talked to my mother-in-law about figuring out where do I go from there, because I'm not going back home. And Will was doing his build out, like he was already committing, putting that risk of having a storefront. It was only natural for me to do that, but I don't think it was set into like real motion and feeling the full weight of it until I received that message and that I came and saw the place for the first time. Jonathan R. was the first person that I dealt with when it came to my Williamsburg Village spot.
They shove it back here, then didn't ignore that.
I guess the question is the stock room. And how deep are we looking for right now? No? Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'd almost figure out where is your POS and work back.
He is technically my landlord. He's the property manager type of a deal here. And he works with Boyle, which is the group that has this wonderful place. And he was the first one who reached out to me, and he led me through coming up with the initial blueprint of what the space and everything would look like. And I would deal with him when it comes to the blueprint and the architect of just the foundation of the walls, the bathroom, etc. And then I knew that I did not want to go in blind. So I knew I wanted to get a designer immediately. I reached out to 3 or 4 designers and I interviewed them, secured Avni, and so she was my interior designer, and I needed to get that first and foremost, because even when it came down to picking the walls and the arches and the mower, like I immediately needed to make sure that this was like the layout I wanted.
She has been amazing to work with because she'll just kind of let me go. It's just been fun.
And then that came down to also picking a contractor. So I interviewed 2, and I ended up going with Philip Bennett. And so he was my contractor through this all. He worked extremely fast. I'm very grateful with the team he had. He had an amazing team, and I'd always come in and be like, hey y'all, hey, and they'd be like, hey. And they worked really fast and were great at solutions.
For like this shooting.
I don't know what this is. I'm excited.
No photo shoots.
I'm at the hub. I'm in a photo shoot. It's all kind of my standard Thursday, actually.
It's coming at me.
Then it came down to, when it comes down to figuring out your layout of the store, we did everything custom millwork. So we used Posey from Old City Mill.
So there's maybe 2 feet, then there's 116.
One day we had to meet with Posey, who owns Old City Millwork, and Philip, my contractor, and Avni. obviously Avni was like right beside me the whole time. So anytime I'm there, Avni's there. We had to lay out the millwork. There is electricity that runs underneath.
Is that my door?
There's your door. Over
Hi,
there.
door.
And then it jogs this way, like wall.
There's
There's a setback. There's a
little wall
Yep.
with my switches right here.
All your switches.
And then here's one arch. Here's the other arch. And here's the third arch. No, I don't think so.
And I needed to make sure that things were laid out properly because my millwork was custom, and he did all of my shelving, my register, my credenza, my organizing closet thing in the back, the ladder that's on it, he did that. He did the kitchenette, he did my dressing rooms. So he did a lot as well, and so we immediately had to get him on board because millwork takes a lot of work. So Old City Millwork worked on that for me. We had Kaiser flooring for my floors, and then for my custom blocks in the center, I worked with Dan from 38 Woodwork.
Oh, do you mind being filmed? I'm so sorry.
I warned him this morning.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I usually ask. We're doing like episodes of like the whole progress, so.
Cool.
I mean, you're front.
Yeah, I'm not looking at it.
And we had a meeting, and him and Avni had talked about it beforehand, and then we met, and he showed me this awesome design drawing that came with it. And so he worked on that with his friend Zach.
Okay, let's start. Do you like that?
Yes. Do you like that?
I like it.
Dan was incredible. He pushed it out so quickly. He did it to perfection, and he is one of the nicest people to work with ever. He does so many awesome custom things, but I love that this is just for me. Like they came up with this for the shop, and once again, to have it local was huge.
Keep no curves, we're thinking.
Yeah, that's what she was telling me was my curves. Because when I think about it in this space, I'm just really structured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm thinking that when I look at it, everything is like very boxed off and everything. So
We had talked about finishes for this rail that comes across like that.
yes. So my thing with these is sometimes we do events. And so it would be really great for them to be able to
Be mobile.
Be able to get out of the way.
Yeah. I think.
So what I love about all this is that all of this is local. All of this is Memphis. We use Memphis for everything, which I'm super proud of, and I'm really thankful that Avni did that because we love being Memphis based. We love bringing this to the city. So to be able to bring back and give that work locally was huge for me. So, but I also, because it's all custom, I want to make sure that I had things properly where I wanted them. The biggest thing was when it came to the credenza behind my cash wrap, I had to figure out how much room I wanted from the end of my racks to the credenza. I think I made them measure it 6 times in 6 different measurements to see, and I would stand there in between. They would draw out the credenza, and then they would draw out where the rack would be, and I would stand there in between each one and see how much room do I need to kind of bend over. How much room do I need to have if there's 2 of us back there and I need to get this dress going? How long do I want that custom iron hanger so that I could have more dresses behind there? Because what I found out at Saddle Creek was that we had no rack. We had no hanger to put, if somebody was done at the dressing room and it was a really busy day, we don't have time to go put those back up on the racks properly. Of our standard here, we always make sure that there's no makeup and that buttons are buttoned, ties are tied. So we would need to just go put them behind the register until we got slow. And so I needed to make sure that there was enough room to put those clothes, plus if anybody's buying a nice formal dress or something, that they could put the bag over it, the garment bag, and wrap it. So we got very detailed. But when you're putting your money into it, and when you're gonna be here for a long time, and when you're doing everything custom, you gotta do it right.
Make power and then low voltage, which we could just come over and, I mean, we can probably fish that down the wall.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
When I'm thinking about my customers and I'm thinking about the experience, and sometimes they may not notice all the little details just because they're shopping, you know, they're just trying on things and that's great. But I wanted to make sure, even to the point that the mirrors in my dressing room were at a proper height to where it wasn't gonna cut your feet off, or wasn't gonna cut your head off, or wasn't gonna be warped, or wasn't, that it was the perfect amount of space to where your full body could be seen, especially in the smaller dressing rooms. And then, so we had to know the height of the mirror, and we had to basically just measure to make sure that that was the height, the perfect height
Inches.
that we want.
That's what we want. 70?
That means it's
70 here.
2 inches off.
Yeah. So you would want it to come down.
And then the other thing is that my mirrors are backlit, so we had to also measure out and come up with a design.
We can shift to mirrors, right? That's a great big piece of glass that you sent. I love it. And I need to know the height of it because I feel like it's a 70-inch mirror, yeah. Did you tell me the height? I missed it?
Yeah, the specs are in that thing I sent you.
That tells me the height of the mirror, but how high to mount it.
Oh, we were just looking at that. We were just looking at that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were thinking, so it needs to be, as you're here, you're in here. So we were thinking 5 or 6 inches off the ground.
Me too!
Yeah!
Why am I here?
Great.
I need to just leave.
Because those mirrors didn't come backlit, so we had to order strip lights and put it around it.
I don't need, you don't need me.
What is this for? What?
Oh, LED!
Puts an LED behind the mirror? Are you kidding me?
Great idea.
That's happening.
With this little mechanism or like design, it's just like wood, you know, it's nothing special, but we had to make sure that there wasn't too much room to where like you could see behind there, but it was enough room to where the lights would give off the amount of ambiance that we wanted so that it wouldn't like close in and everything.
Behind it.
Which is taped onto the mirror.
You're saying block top and bottom,
Yeah.
potentially, so the mirror holds off. And I'm with you, this is good, maybe it's fine for now, but now if the LED is taped behind the mirror, then you've got, on your wall, you've got a void with a shadow. That is not what you want.
I think it's fine.
Short of the mirrors.
So your block will
Perimeter.
go there,
This is the block.
and your block will go there.
This is the mirror.
Yep. You got it. You got it.
Great. That's not what anybody had said until this moment, but now we got it. Awesome.
We did see it.
Okay. Good answer.
So there was a big day of the dressing rooms to make sure that mirrors were at the perfect height. And that's how detailed we got in this space.
And that bench, is it gonna?
Bench will just go right there.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be fine. You got
This is good.
You want to put things down.
It's so weird because the dressing room feels smaller than the second one. Yeah.
When I first, it's just so funny how many times it changed. When I first signed the lease, I wanted it to be at the end of May because that's when we were done at Saddle Creek. I think I kind of took my time a little bit when it came to choosing people, or like I didn't go quick enough. And so it ended up having to be pushed to June. And then there were maybe just like a couple things that needed to come in, or yeah, I don't know. It ended up being just pushed to the end of July, which anybody who deals with any construction knows that.
Go for it.
Okay. It has come so far. Wow. Oh my goodness.
That's the bathroom.
You come in. So first look up. So you'll see these like panels. So these are gonna have, so inside the panels are gonna be LED strips, and then there's LED strips all around it. So it's gonna be like really cool, like modern kind of cool lighting. So that's the situation. That's it. Thank you. So it'll be exciting. It'll be really cool because all of y'all, well, Claire, you'll be here at the grand opening, but it'll be really cool for y'all to see like it right now and just like more bare bones, and then us opening in July, and you're gonna be like, cool. So it's really cool for y'all to see this whole thing happen. So we have an inspection on Tuesday, so let's pray that we pass it, so we can stay on schedule. So this is it. All right. This is the new Shelby Jewel.
How do you feel? What are we doing right now?
So, I'm about to see my floors for the first time, and I'm so excited because I think it's really going to pull it together. Why I'm talking so southern, I don't know. That's what happens when I get nervous. But I'm going to see my floor.
This is huge.
I would say the biggest difference is, I mean, definitely space.
Oh my God, I had a flood of anxiety and a flood of nerves, and I was scared. What if it didn't work? What if no one showed up? What if I failed? And at that moment, I really just wanted to run back into my home office and take everything with me and just say, this was safe, this was fine. But that's not where I was called at that moment. But I don't think people realize like what it takes sometimes to own a small business.